This year didn't destroy you. It tested you. And the fact that you're still standing and still fighting, then it proves one thing. Your story isn't over. Let's get real for a second. You entered this year with dreams, and with ambitions, and with quiet vows you whispered to yourself in the dark. Maybe you thought, this is my year and this is when everything changes. And now, look where you are. Dreams half realized, and promises half kept, and that person you swore you'd become still feels just out of reach. And somewhere deep inside, a voice keeps whispering the same lie. You didn't make it, but hear me out. Finishing a year with strength isn't about medals, metrics, or wins you can post online. It's about how you finish psychologically, because the mental state you exit this year with becomes the foundation you build next year on. And if you drag forward shame, bitterness, or defeat, the new year begins buried before the first sunrise. But if you close this year with truth, courage, and self-knowledge, even through struggles, you launch into the next season clearer, sharper, and more determined. So if you'll give me just a few minutes, I'll reveal how to finish this year powerfully. Even if nothing went according to plan, even if it felt like rock bottom. Because often the most powerful conclusions emerge from the most brutal chapters. Redefine what happened. Here's the first trap most people fall into. They view the year like a game. Victory, defeat, winning, losing. But existence isn't a championship game. There's no buzzer that determines your value. What most label as defeat is actually incomplete evolution. Consider this carefully. Did you discover something this year? Did something crumble and force you to recognize reality more honestly? That's not defeat. That's education. Because defeat only happens when you abandon learning and when you abandon reflection and abandon trying. And if you're here right now, you haven't given up. You're still seeking and still questioning and still demanding better from yourself. So before anything else, do this simple thing in your heart. Reframe this year. Not the year I lost, but the year reality became clear. The reality about your consistency, your surroundings, your patterns, and your thinking. And yes, reality stings. But reality also liberates you. Because once you see with clarity, you finally understand what must transform. Most people finish the year trapped in one of two destructive patterns. Delusion. Somehow next year will automatically improve, or self-destruction. I'm worthless, and I always ruin everything. But both are prisons because delusion prevents your evolution. And self-destruction shatters your belief in yourself. But resilient people take a third route. They face reality without the theatrics. They declare, this is my current position, and this is what I accomplished, and this is what I avoided. No excuses, no justifications, and no narratives, because facing truth is empowerment. You cannot transform what you pretend doesn't exist. So question yourself, what did I run from this year? And where did I pick ease over evolution? And don't criticize the responses, just witness them. Because the instant you recognize the cycle clearly, you unlock the ability to shatter it. Stop waiting for perfect timing. Here's an uncomfortable reality. Most people dodge the calendar doesn't cause your problems. You don't struggle because the timing was wrong. And you struggle because you keep attempting to construct a transformed life with the identical personality, identical patterns, and identical responses. And then you anticipate different outcomes. That's not optimism. That's delusion. So if you genuinely want to close this year strong psychologically and emotionally, don't wonder, what ambition should I pursue? Wonder something more fundamental. Who must I stop being? Maybe you must stop being the person who craves inspiration before moving. or the person who explodes with energy, then vanishes, or the person who analyzes endlessly but never executes, or the person who surrenders the instant discomfort arrives. Because your identity always precedes your outcomes. And the most transformative way to finish this year isn't inspiration. It's a commitment. A commitment about who you refuse to be anymore. Not next year and not in January. Begin this moment. Release your past. You cannot advance while anchoring regret to your back, because regret masquerades as responsibility, but it isn't. It doesn't repair yesterday, and it only contaminates tomorrow. Maybe you squandered months, or maybe you believed the wrong voices. That's human, because you're imperfect. But here's the truth. You don't get to torture yourself eternally for wisdom you've already gained. That's not growth. That's self-destruction wearing a mask. Releasing isn't about erasing. Releasing is about acknowledging the price of that lesson you learned and extracting wisdom and stepping forward stronger, not broken. So finish this year by releasing the emotional weight. Not because it's meaningless, but because you value your future enough to continue. Create evidence before it ends. And this is where most inspiration misleads you. They say, prepare and dream massive and list your aspirations. But powerful endings don't emerge from preparation. They emerge from evidence. Before this year closes, you don't need to revolutionize your entire existence. And you don't need a complete overhaul. But you need one small victory that demonstrates something to yourself. Not to social media and not to your circle and not to anyone else, but to your core. It might be rising before dawn for 7 consecutive days and completing 1 book and training consistently for 14 days, or organizing your environment and maintaining it, and writing your thoughts nightly, regardless of circumstances. Just one small commitment, absolutely non-negotiable, and 0 rationalizations. Because self-belief isn't constructed from grand visions. It's constructed from honored commitments. And close this year knowing I committed to this and I followed through. That singular sensation, that silent self-honor is what generates momentum into your next phase. Separate your value from your progress. One of the most liberating mental transformations you can embrace right now is this. Your value isn't connected to your speed of progress. Some people flourish young, and some flourish later, and some flourish only after existence breaks them completely. That doesn't mean you're delayed. It means you're human because you're not on the incorrect journey. You're just on your unique timeline. And another thing, measuring yourself against others drains your power. There will always be someone further along, and there will always be someone who appears to have mastered everything. Let them, because your mission isn't to conquer their journey. Your mission is to remain devoted to yours and close this year by selecting self-honor over self-criticism. Push yourself and be rigorous. But don't despise yourself into transformation. That approach fails every time. Your ending shapes your beginning. Anyone can launch powerfully with fresh year, enthusiasm, and with motivation, and with adrenaline. But rare individuals finish powerfully. And psychologically resilient people grasp one critical truth. Momentum lives in your mind. If you finish the year feeling crushed, powerless, and mentally attacking yourself, then you don't magically transform on January 1st, but you transport that frequency forward. But if you close the year conscious, peaceful, focused, and truthful with yourself, then you step into the next year rooted and centered. That's why you don't need to frantically escape forward. Just stop, examine, and eliminate the mental chaos. Then finish the year deliberately. Because how you conclude this year determines how you launch the next year. Final truth. Let me close with this. You didn't fail because you lack ability. You failed because you were evolving. And evolution is chaotic and painful, but it's essential. The fact that you're still present and still contemplating and still reaching, then it proves your narrative isn't complete. This year didn't limit you. How you interpret it will. So, finish this year powerfully. Not with artificial optimism and not with crushing pressure, but with truth, focus, and with self-honor. So, finally, if these words resonated with you, don't dismiss them. Take one action right now. Just one that the former version of you would have postponed. Because that's how you close this year strong.